Most people think their job does one thing: it pays the bills. Money comes in, money goes out, and you wait for the next paycheck. Emotionally, that's how it feels too, like you're just maintaining balance, not really moving forward. But here's a quieter question. Most people never stop to ask, what if your job is doing more for you than you realize, and you're just not trained to notice it? For many people, a job slowly starts to feel like a trap. Fixed hours, fixed income, and the sense that real life is happening somewhere else. You scroll online and see people talking about quitting, starting something of their own, or escaping the 9 to 5, and it makes your job feel like the problem, like the thing standing between you and freedom. But what those stories rarely show is what made those risks survivable in the first place. Because most wealth isn't built in chaos, it's built on top of stability. Let me make this concrete. Meet Alex and Sarah. Same age, same company, same salary. On paper, their lives look almost identical. Similar apartments, similar commutes, similar working hours. Alex treats his job the way most people do. He sees it as a paycheck. He spends what comes in and ignores the rest because benefits feel complicated, boring, or too far in the future to matter. Sarah doesn't feel particularly disciplined or financially savvy, but she quietly uses what's already there. She takes the retirement match. She uses the learning budget to build a new skill. She keeps her lifestyle mostly the same, not because she's strict, but because nothing feels urgent enough to change. Here's the part most people miss. After 1 year, nothing looks different on the surface. If you met Alex and Sarah, you wouldn't notice anything. Same phones, same clothes, same conversations. But under the surface, something is shifting. Sarah has more savings, more skills, and more breathing room. Not because she worked harder or gave up enjoying life, simply because she paid attention to the quiet parts of her job. Most people miss this not because they're irresponsible, but because these benefits don't feel urgent. Rent feels urgent. Groceries feel urgent. Eating out feels rewarding. Long-term benefits don't create relief today, so people tell themselves they'll deal with it later, and later quietly turns into years. Here's a calmer way to think about work. Your job doesn't have to be your dream. It doesn't have to define you. But while you have it, it can act like a support system. It gives you predictable income, time to think, and room to make mistakes. That stability allows you to invest without panic, learn without pressure, and plan without fear. This is where people underestimate stability. Because stability feels boring. It doesn't announce itself, but it does powerful things quietly. Banks trust you more. You can invest without worrying about next month. You can say no to bad decisions because you're not desperate. Someone without stability has to rush every choice. Someone with stability can afford patience. And patience is where compounding lives. Now fast forward a bit. Alex is frustrated. He feels stuck and wants freedom immediately. He thinks leaving his job is the solution. Sarah feels the same frustration, but she stays a little longer. Not because she loves her job, but because she's using it. Over time, Sarah builds options underneath her life. Alex gains freedom on paper, but also more pressure. Same desire. Very different outcome. There's also something else a job quietly gives you that people rarely talk about. Credibility. When you're employed, doors open more easily. Loans, rentals, opportunities, they all become simpler. Stability gives you leverage, even if you don't feel powerful in the moment. There's a subtle shift that happens when you start seeing your job this way. You stop resenting every Monday. Not because the work suddenly becomes meaningful, but because it stops feeling pointless. Even on boring days, you know something useful is happening in the background. Every paycheck strengthens your buffer. Every benefit quietly reduces future stress. You're no longer stuck. You're building. A lot of people think freedom comes from leaving the job as early as possible. But real freedom comes from reaching a point where staying or leaving are both safe options. That only happens when you use what you already have instead of trying to escape it. Your job doesn't have to be forever, and it doesn't have to be perfect. But while you have it, it can quietly do more than just pay your bills. It can give you stability, time, and a financial foundation. Not loudly, not quickly, but steadily. And sometimes that's what real progress actually looks like. If this way of thinking about money and work helped you see things a little more clearly, subscribe to Vish Invest for calm, honest conversations about money, without hype.